Hello and welcome to the introduction to the Resilience Framework. My name's Denise Wheatman and I work for Public Health, which is part of Wakefield Council.
And my name is Emily Castle and I work for Young Lives Consortium, a local charity based in Wakefield.
To give you a little bit of background about the Resilience Framework. I was part of the teenage pregnancy team and we worked with young people who were at risk of becoming young parents and those who were already young parents. Through this work we recognised that the young people's knowledge around risk of early sexual activity and where to access contraception they had, but when they were asked if they knew how they ended up being young parents if they already had this information, we realised that they often didn't have the skills to act upon this knowledge. So the purpose of the framework was to provide a cohesive programme, what was age developmental from 0 to 19, an approach that put the child or young person at the centre and focused on their competences and their strengths. A way for practitioners to explore and focus on the underlying issues and not just the perceived ones. So to look at working towards reducing the cause, not just the presenting behaviour. An awareness of possible risk factors as well. So this consistent evidence-based practical approach was to promote resilience and reduce risk from adverse outcomes, ACEs, and a framework that supported practitioners to build on what they already did. It provided access to good quality evidence-based interventions that promote resilience and reduce risk through consistent resilience messages.
The Resilience Framework is a really good tool in terms of underpinning safeguarding, assessments and so other factors that impact on children and young people are adverse childhood experiences, often known as ACEs. Research identifies that children who experience ACEs are much more likely to have long-term health and social problems in adulthood. This could be mental or physical health problems. It means that sometimes people are involved in the criminal justice system and experience addictions. So building resilience. We know that if you support children and young people to build resilience, that you can come and overcome some of these particular barriers that people face, especially for young people with ACEs. We know that it helps to avoid damaging behaviours and psychological changes that children and young people experience as a result of ACEs. Some of the ways that you can overcome these different experiences are identified in this slide. So for example, feeling as if you can overcome hardship, having hope and having an idea of where you want to be in your life can help and support you. Being grounded in cultural traditions, so feeling connected, whether that be socially, with friends and family and your local community, is very important. We know that being able to manage your behaviours and emotions and having a range of different coping strategies is very important as well. And finally, having one or more stable, caring child-to-adult relationships, having a trusted adult is really important.
So what is resilience? It's a set of skills, qualities and strategies that help us cope with stresses and changes in our lives. It helps us do everyday activities and keep positive relationships with others, especially those that we care about and those that care about us, and especially those where we go when we need support. It also helps improve our emotional and physical health and increases our social, educational and employment opportunities.
Resilience is the result of a highly interactive process between individual characteristics in the person and the environment in which that individual has developed.
It's really the counterbalancing of difficult things that may exist in the child's life with positive things that occur within the family, but even positive things that may exist in the community.
An easy way of thinking about resilience is like a scale with a fulcrum in the middle of it. And there are things on both sides of that scale, experiences of both bad things or good things.
Our genes shape where the fulcrum is positioned at the start.
There are certain genes that make a child more sensitive to the effects of maltreatment or parental neglect or witnessing violence.
The fulcrum may start out kind of more towards one side or more towards the other side, and that's going to make a big difference in terms of how much these subsequent events affect things positively or negatively.
Science tells us that experience moves the fulcrum, for better or for worse.
Even though we are born with genes, genes will respond differently to certain environmental situations as opposed to others.
What the genes are actually doing are turning up or turning down the expression of chemicals in circuits in the brain and the circuitry in the entire body that govern our responses to stress, to anxiety, to depressive symptoms.
When positive experiences accumulate and children learn coping skills that help them to manage stress, the fulcrum can slide, so the scale tilts toward positive outcomes more easily. That's what resilience is all about.
There's always an adult, or more than one adult, who is key to providing that relationship that helps to build resilience.
In Wakefield, we do a health-related behaviour questionnaire. This is done biannually. It asks a series of questions which are a range of public health priorities. The results from the latest survey were collated in February this year but have not been sent out as yet. As a response to COVID-19, another survey has been sent out to see how children and young people are coping while staying at home. Nearly 4,000 children and young people took part, which was an amazing response. This has enabled us to compare the results before and during lockdown. There has been some positives, as you can see, with 43% of children and young people feeling that they are getting more sleep than usual, and 48% are eating less takeaways. But February's results had already indicated that Wakefield children and young people had a low wellbeing score to start with, and this is now even lower by 5%, so it's now 23%. 82% are missing friends, 73% are missing family they don't live with, and this was predominantly grandparents. Worries noticeably about the future for when they return to school were around family and friends catching the virus, and this is 60%. Young people were saying that they were worried about going into school and taking the virus back into the home, especially if they were a young carer or they were living with somebody at risk or had close contact with the grandparents who were older. So we need to be able to increase a children and young people's toolkit of strategies and support networks, so that moving forward they will be able to feel more confident to cope with change and stresses that the current situation is bringing.
Through extensive research and consultation, we've identified that children and young people need 8 areas of competence to build resilience and avoid or overcome poor outcomes. The 8 areas of competence are loving myself, expressing myself, working it out, being heard, living together, keeping safe, getting informed, knowing where I am going. If these competencies are not developed, children and young people are at greater risk of poor outcomes, including low aspirations and low attainment, poor emotional well-being, drugs and alcohol misuse, risk of bullying and exploitation, teenage pregnancy, obesity, antisocial behaviour and more.
Feeling good's really, really important, especially being a young person, because nowadays if you don't feel good about yourself then you seem to kind of slide in life. If you feel good about yourself you've got a lot more confidence and it protects a lot more of the parts of your life as well.
Be confident, look after yourself and be happy.
People are experiencing things a lot earlier in life, things from sex, drugs and smoking to family problems at home, and even though there's a lot of services out there that can help young people, unless they've got the confidence to actually access the services, then they're not going to get the help they need.
Loving myself is about being confident with who I am, understanding that how I feel about myself can affect the choices I make, feeling accepted by my peers, my family, my community, understanding the effects my environment can have on me.
Love is dancing emotion. Love is a stirring feeling. Love is so. Love is trust not to be broken or lost. Love smells sweet like 12 red roses. Love is Sunday dinner and onion grove. Love red, the meaning of your heart. Green with envy. Purple with rage. Black with anger. Orange like heat, mellow and sweet. Blue with sadness. Grey with confusion. White fury and purity. Love is this.
It's very important to me to explain my troubles and worries. I worry a lot. If I have problems, I write letters to tell people I am having a problem. I was bullied at college. The two boys who bullied me would turn my lights off and close my door so I could not get out of my dark bedroom. I felt very upset and wanted to kill myself.
Expressing myself is being able to express how I feel, managing difficult feelings which may be around with loss and change, to understand how my thoughts and feelings may affect my behaviour and the choices I make, to recognise the emotional and physical changes that take place during puberty.
You're stressing and worrying, or you're trying to cut back on your food shopping, or you're trying to cut back on what you're using through weeks, or you're trying to save more gas and more electric so that you're not having to put more on that so that you can pay off these debts.
It's harder for younger people because some of them aren't ready for like money problems and that, and it's just hard.
Well, when I first moved into my house, Bernardo's got me a grant for my washer, which obviously they paid for. I had to buy second-hand furniture, like from British Art Foundation and stuff, just so that we could sit on summer. I had to get a cooker from Perfect Home, which cost me £17 a week to pay off. But if all in all, I've ended up paying like £500 for it when I could have bought it for £300, if you know what I mean. But because I didn't have the money there and then to just say, oh, yeah, I can buy it. I had to do that. I needed a cooker. I needed to make food for me and my daughter.
Working it out is about making good decisions and developing problem-solving skills. Find our personal strengths and limitations, to eat healthily, have the skills, confidence and knowledge to make informed financial decisions.
Because like all my friends were saying, oh, I've done this, I've had sex with so and so, I've done this and I've done that. So for me it was like, well, do I or don't I? And I did actually think about it for quite a while. And then I decided to do it. But like a lot of people do say to you, like my friends were saying, oh, you don't get pregnant on your first time. But it actually does happen because that's the situation that I were in. Because I had sex my first time and got pregnant. And then it came out that they weren't doing it. So I felt a bit of an idiot because I'd done it but got myself pregnant at the same time.
Being heard helps look at ways to communicate with others, including talking, listening, negotiating and being assertive. Recognise and resist peer pressure. Ask for help.
It's this project. We could meet at my house tomorrow.
Your mum won't mind?
Not if you come round after tea. About 7?
That's fine by me.
What about her?
Who?
Millie. She's supposed to be working with us.
She's not coming.
Well, what do we do?
Yeah, Miss will have a right go if she thinks we're not working as a group.
We'll just say that we asked around and she didn't come. That'll be all right, won't it, Millie?
When somebody has no friends, they feel really sad. if you don't share, people get upset and they say you're not my friend and stuff.
Living together can develop an awareness of others, including empathy, provide and understand that there are different types of relationships, explore how to make and keep positive and healthy relationships.
Get changed, get ready, find someone to get beer for us. Yeah, Mum goes down to the shop, gets all my mates beer and everything, then go like back to somebody's house or back to mine.
Meet everyone.
Everyone comes down, party. Then once we've drank a bit of beer, we go out and then drink more beer outside. And just chill. Have a good time. Then meet some boys and do whatever. Hangovers. Yeah, so there's a risk because like if we get too drunk, we might not know what we're doing or might get hurt or something. And boys can take advantage. Makes you forget stuff. Like if like you're very emotional or sad, if you have a drink, it like cheers you up. Gives me confidence and feels like I'm on top of it well.
Keeping safe enables us to discriminate between safe and unsafe situations, understand and manage risk and the consequences of risky behaviour, set and negotiate age-appropriate boundaries, understand the risks of using the internet, video games and mobile phones and know how to keep safe when using them.
I should be getting back to her. It's not that she'll be worried about me. By this time she's probably forgotten about me. It's just I get frightened that she'll fall or do something stupid. Really hurt herself again. If I make her go to bed, it means she's safer. She'll fall asleep, at least for a while. There's so much I should be doing. I'm behind on all my coursework and my teachers are all giving me such a hard time about it. But how do I explain that there's no time? That by the time I've sorted the house out when I get back from school and made sure we've had something to eat, Mum started drinking again. And I can't just sit there while she's knocking back glass after glass of vodka. So I end up out here. I've tried bringing my books out to do some of it, but my head's too full of what's going on and I can't think. I'm not sleeping, so I'm just tired all the time. I can't think. They're starting to talk about me failing and asking me stupid questions about what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. What they don't realise is, I'm not sure I can get through another week. It's making me feel like there's no point getting out of bed in the morning. I missed 2 days of school last week and 3 the week before. I wish I could talk to my dad about it, but she's made me promise not to tell him. Maybe it would be easy for everyone if I just disappeared.
Things like depression can be caused by school exams, peer pressure, and things like the stereotypes that the media put on us. We feel under pressure to live up to the perfect body image and things like that. And I don't think that's right. I think that needs to just be abolished and the stereotypes shouldn't exist.
Getting informed helps develop the skills to know where to go for help, access and use information and services when we need them, understand how the information given in the media affects us.
I want to be a teacher or a hairdresser because you can get a lot of money. You can it's quite fun because you get to teach children how to learn and how to do a good job when they're older.
If I go to college, I'd want to do engineering to be a mechanic.
When I go older, I want to be a doctor. I'm going to go to college, then university, then college, then earn, and then go university, then earn like that as well, and then be a doctor.
I want to turn into a princess and have my own palace.
To know where I'm going, I need to have positive aspirations and dreams, be positively engaged in nursery school or college and my local community, have the ability or opportunity to make a difference.
All children and young people across the 0 to 19 age range need to develop these competencies, and all 8 of the areas need to be developed to be effective. If we all work together to use the framework, we can support children and young people to become resilient and to achieve their potential.
So just to recap, the framework is structured into 8 different areas. Each area has a set of key aims, and underneath that there is a set of key competencies or protective factors that all children and young people need to flourish. The framework is age developmental, so there's a number of packs for each of the different age ranges. And what we suggest is the more skills, the more competencies that a child has, the more chance there is that that young person will achieve the aims for that particular area. So here are some examples of key competencies that are in the framework. We'll just give you a moment to read some of these, and we're sure that you are working and supporting young people to achieve these different skills and competencies.
Can I ask, have you ever worked with siblings who are living in the same house and experiencing the same things, but one's doing okay and the other's struggling, and thinking to yourself, I wonder why that's happening? It could be that one of the children has got a good relationship with a grandparent who encourages them to do well at school. The other doesn't have an adult they can talk to and is struggling both within the home and at school. So this is where the framework comes in. Like in the film, the framework's working towards moving the fulcrum towards positive outcomes. Each of the framework areas works to develop the key competences and protective factors that helps move that fulcrum. Things like being able to manage your stress and emotions, good problem solving skills, having somebody in their life who they can trust and who they care for, feel that they're connected either within the family, the school or community, and feel that they have got some aspirations that they can plan ahead.
The Wakefield Resilience Framework holds a number of resources and support tools that can be used by anyone working with children and young people in the Wakefield District, including parents and families, and the voluntary and community sector, schools, health, children first hubs and social care, and other statutory organisations use and contribute to developing these support tools. You'll find questionnaires which are available for the different age ranges. There is online questionnaires for the young people to do, which include video clips and other activities. There's also a whole range of different programmes, including the Luggage for Life programme, Girls Talk, and a Controlling Behaviours programme developed by the Rosalie Ryrie Foundation. It's really important that adults, whether they're workers, parents or a trusted adult in a young person's life, have the opportunity to start difficult conversations and have the tools to do that. You'll find a number of these in the Resilience Framework. We have questionnaires, we have the conversational tool, and we also have the work that's been done around the suicide prevention strategy and a number of conversation starters in terms of difficult conversations, and then support to get a young person to a safe place.
We think about the resilience approach as being a three-legged stool with 3 elements towards it. The first one is advice and information, which we're all fantastic at doing. Providing strategies, training and coaching. Again, as workers, we're really good at doing that. But the third element, which is most important and quite often we don't get the capacity.
The Luggage for Life transition programme is delivered by the community navigators who are part.
We'd like to introduce you to the new Wakefield website for children and young people, WF I Can. The website has 2 sections, 7 to 12-year-olds and one for 13 to 19. It offers a host of support and links to helplines on a range of topics for things around bereavement, young carers, domestic abuse, bullying, sexuality and gender, and also what's happening locally around support during COVID-19. Especially for themselves or their family if they were struggling, and this may be around where to access support with food or paying bills, etc. It also has self-care tips and activities. It has some active videos on there what help you keep fit, they're absolutely brilliant, and a games and challenge area. It's also linked to an Instagram page and it has an online chat facility. This is supported by workers from the Community Navigators Fit team, which is part of Future in Mind, the Youth Work team.
Finally, we'd like to say please do take a look at the Risk and Resilience website. You'll find the address here on this slide, and do look at WFI CAM. If you would like any further information or training, please do get in touch with Denise or myself. Thank you for your time today.